So where does the resolution lie? What happens from here? Earlier in the House of the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, now in the streets, we're seeing this massive AAP versus BJP face-off. But there has to be a resolution. Where does the law lie? What about the politics? To talk about this and more, we're joined on this broadcast representing the BJP, its spokesperson Charu Pragya. Priyanka Kakkar represents the Aam Aadmi Party. Aditya Shankar Prasad is an advocate of the Supreme Court. Prashant Manchanda is another advocate of the Supreme Court. And Anil Gupta is the former Chief Law Officer of the erstwhile North MCD. So those are our guests for the show. I want to start by asking Aditya Shankar Prasad to explain why the decision of the Delhi LG to allow for these nominated councillors to be sworn in, the aldermen to be sworn in and to be made a part of this mayor election is actually good in law. So what's the premise, and then we'll get the Aam Aadmi Party to respond to it. Why do you think what the LG has done is actually proper in law?
Well, Rahul, that's a very pertinent question that you asked me, and let me bring the law on record regarding the inducting of all the 10 aldermen by the Honorable LG. You see, this is a legal provision that is mandated in the MCD Act, the Delhi Municipal Corporation Act. Section 3(b)(1) states that 10 persons who are not less than 25 years of age and who have special knowledge or experience in municipal administration to be nominated by the administrator, provided that the persons nominated under this subclause shall not have the right to vote in the meetings of the corporation. They are simply aldermen. And what have they been chosen for? For their knowledge, for their discretion insofar as administering the matters of Delhi Municipal Corporation is concerned. And that is solely the prerogative of the LG. And after this entire notification that has come about in the Gazette, which is passed on 18th of April 2022 in the Gazette of India, you see the government in this case happens to be the central government. And since Delhi is a union territory, the discretion of the central government reigns supreme insofar as appointing the aldermen is concerned, the LG being the representative of the central government. The constitution had given certain features regarding the union territories, and specifically when it comes to Delhi being the national capital, there are some preeminent considerations which have to be taken into account while exercising the administrative affairs of Delhi. And for that, LG has been given requisite power. So thereafter, if these aldermen are appointed by the LG, I don't see any sense of any controversy.
No, but why do you think, Prashant Manchanda, what the Lieutenant Governor has done is wrong? Because these aldermen can indeed be appointed by the Lieutenant Governor. The question is, does it happen before the mayoral elections? Does it happen before the councillors are sworn in? Does it have to happen after a mayor has been elected? The LG and the likes of Aditya Shankar Prasad think that the LG has done no wrong.
First of all, we have to see this issue not isolatedly, but comprehensively. In order to understand the administrative structure of the NCT of Delhi, we must also focus at Article 239 capital A, wherein specific provisions and specific entries have also been incorporated, such as entry 1, 2 and 18. As to 1, 2 and 18, there is no mention, there is no embargo whatsoever over the state legislature to take a call on urban bodies. That is why it is important to also have a look at entry 5 of the constitution. This is one part of it which specifically talks about the state legislature having a control over the urban bodies with respect to the administrative affairs. This is one aspect of it. And second aspect of it is the precedent that has been followed. The precedent is this, that initially it is the elected representatives which have to be administered the oath. Thereafter, from the elected representatives, by virtue of Article 243R, which categorically puts an embargo on the nominated councillors to be a part of that election, then a mayor has to be elected, then a deputy mayor has to be elected, and only thereafter the nominated members are selected. Now, I am given to understand this procedure has been digressed, and that is perhaps one of the reasons why there could be this apprehension. As I again say, that by virtue of Article 239AA, there is no embargo whatsoever with respect to the state legislature to do the
Okay,
things that
so let me go across to Anil Gupta, because we've heard a AAP leaning point of view, we've heard a BJP leaning point of view. Now, you've been the former law officer of North MCD. In the way that you understand the law, should the aldermen have been sworn in before the mayor election is completed or after that? Has the Lieutenant Governor done the right thing or is he wrong? Anil Gupta, can you hear me?
Yes, madam. Can I speak in Hindi?
आपको जिस भाषा में बोलना है आप उसमें हमें जवाब दे सकते हैं। मेरा सवाल यह है कि क्या लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर ने कानून के हिसाब से सही चीज की है या बेसिकली वो बीजेपी की शह पे पॉलिटिक्स करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं?
No. LG has perfectly done legal thing. There is nothing illegality. Let me tell madam, after amendment in DMC Act recently, earlier this power was vested with the Delhi government, and aldermen are elected on the aid and advice of the Delhi government. But after amendment in the DMC Act, entire power has been vested with the LG, who is administrator and delegate of the central government.
Okay, so let Priyanka Kakkar respond to the point that you're making. In the law, as it stands at this moment, the former law officer of the MCD suggests that the Lieutenant Governor is indeed correct. It is for him to appoint the alderman. This is not something for the Kejriwal government to do. And in any case, you can still go ahead and have the election. Why is the Aam Aadmi Party making such a big song and dance on the streets of Delhi, Priyanka?
Good evening, Rahulji. Good evening to everyone. I'm very grateful to the lawyers. At least they first agreed with the fact that the alderman has no voting rights, be it any act. So this is our first demand from the LG, that he should give this in writing, that the alderman shall have no voting rights in consonance with the law. One. Secondly, I disagree with Aditya ji on one point, and the other lawyer as Anil ji on one point is that, see, what has happened is there's a Kelson theory of law, and the lawyers can correct me if I'm wrong. There's a Kelson theory of law which says that we have to distinguish between legal science and legal politics. There is a hierarchy of laws that is followed in our country, and the topmost law in the hierarchy of law happens to be the Constitution of India. And it is a very well settled position of law that if there is a conflict between two provisions of any act, then the Constitution shall prevail. In this case, the Constitution 243R very clearly states that the legislature of a state may by law provide for appointment of the alderman. 1 point. Now, what has also happened is the Lieutenant Governor has bypassed the elected government completely and named a few karyakartas, low-ranking karyakartas of the BJP who have no special knowledge. One. Secondly, Rahulji, it is very important that the tyranny of the unelected must end. And why I say this is there's been not just one point. There's been a multiplicity of illegalities committed by the unelected, by the loser government. Now, what are these? One, the first was the appointment of the pro tem speaker. It goes against the convention as well as the law. Convention being that the senior most is appointed, who we nominated a person who had over 23 years of experience. Firstly, the law which has been broken is 243R, which clearly states that the legislature of the state shall appoint. Secondly, they went ahead and appointed a Hajj committee, completely bypassing the elected government. See the tyranny of the unelected. They have lost. They have lost. I don't know why they must appoint the pro tem speaker against the laws and against the convention. Then again, the voting rights of the aldermen. That was the intention, you know. I am given to understand that on the day when the oath-taking ceremony was happened, 3 boxes were placed for the appointment of the mayor, the deputy mayor and the standing committee. Whereas the pro tem speaker's role ends by ensuring that, okay, the oath-taking ceremony has happened and then you vote for the mayor and that's it. The pro tem speaker is only a temporary speaker for the time being for the appointment of the mayor. That is it. So,
okay, so let Charu Pragya respond. You're saying dal mein kala, and why you think that this is not happening in a kosher fashion is A, the Lieutenant Governor hasn't clarified that these aldermen will not vote. That's point number 1. Point number 2, you should let the Aam Aadmi Party form the mayor, because the fact is, in the MCD election, their party got 134 councillors, you got 104, you've lost the election. Now you're trying to find some jugaad solution to hoist a mayor, even though the people of Delhi didn't vote for you to rule the MCD.
Rahul, good evening. And as usual, Aam Aadmi Party continues to be a bundle of complaints. And none of these complaints make sense, because one, what transpired the other day was completely in accordance of law. Second, we're not digressing from the issue. I'll tell you what the issue is, and it started transpiring from the morning of the day of the election. Aam Aadmi Party realized that even though they have got more councillors on the ground, 134 actually, even if you count the aldermen, as Priyanka would like to do on the BJP side, even if I do that, they are still far ahead on the number tally than BJP. And yet they are afraid that their own councillors will not vote for their mayor. What is the reason for that? And that is why this entire ruckus was created. Point number one. Point number two, their logic is because they've got more seats, the mayor should be theirs. Now tell me, where does it say in any document, any constitution, any law, anywhere in India, that only the party which has got maximum number of seats can stand for an election? Please tell me that. अगर ऐसा logic applicable होता, तो मोदी जी के सामने कोई चुनाव नहीं लड़ता ना. Priyanka, I did not interrupt you even once. Please let me get through my points, and then we will come back to you again. I'm sure Rahul will come back to you. So that is besides the point. What is the end result of the election? We will wait and watch. But who are they to tell us what election we can contest, what election we can stand for, and what election we cannot stand for? That's point number two. Point number three. Do you know 14 MLAs are eligible to vote for the mayor election? 14 MLAs. And going by the count in Delhi, 13 of these MLAs are Aam Aadmi parties. Only one belongs to my party, Bharatiya Janata Party. Did we create a ruckus? Did we do this entire hue and cry about equal number of MLAs from both the parties should be allowed to vote? Not at all. Last point. Why were the MLAs in the MCD house carrying sharp objects and blades? Did you see the way they behaved? And it is all on camera. I am not saying this. Just go and see the CCTV footage. When the second councillor was taking oath, one AAP councillor jumped up, broke the mic, hurt his own hand in the process, but basically broke the mic and started
so Priyanka Karkar, respond to this. No matter how you do the maths, you have 134 councillors. 3 of your Rajya Sabha AAP MPs can vote. That's 137. You've got 13 MLAs who are nominated to vote. That's 150. The BJP has 104 plus, even if these 10 aldermen can vote, that's 114 plus 7 is 121 plus 1 MLA who can vote is 122. So no matter how you play the maths, regardless of whether the alderman can vote or not, you seem to have at least a 15 councillor or 15 vote difference or a 15 vote advantage. Why are you scared? BJP says you're scared because you think some of your councillors won't vote for you.
Rahulji, one, I take strong objection to this, that we are scared. By any maths, we are winning. But by this logic that it doesn't, why it matters is, then we should by that logic also ensure that किसी को चलान ही मत भेजे, वो red light cross करता है तो क्योंकि कोई accident ही नहीं होता. They have to follow the law. It's just that simple. They have to follow the law. They have to follow the convention. Let's stop traffic challans if there's no accident. Let's do that.
Can I add one more thing, please, Rahul?
Secondly, she asked me if I can point out any provision to her. I respectfully ask her to read 243. The provision is very clear and I will read it. The legislature of a state may by law provide for the representation in a municipality of persons having special knowledge or experience in municipal administration. The proviso to that section reads, provided that the persons referred in para 1 shall not have the right to vote
in the
municipality. Now, all we are saying is
that's not the question, Priyanka. That's not the question. The question is, where does it say the political party which has lesser councillors cannot stand for mayor elections?
Was I muted when she was speaking? I request the same, please.
No, let her speak. Charu, let her complete. I'll come back to you in a moment. Let her complete. They're saying we are fighting an election. Priyanka, respond to that. She's saying we are fighting an election. Let us fight.
Exactly.
Rahulji, we have no problem. We are saying follow the law. And these are the people who are flip-flopping. They didn't want to fight the mayor election. That is what they stated on record previously. Their Adesh Gupta ji stated that. And now if they want to do a flip-flop on that, at least follow the law. And you know, in 2018, when we went to, when the constitutional bench of the Honorable Supreme Court gave a very clear verdict in the state of NCT versus Union of India 2018 8 SCC 501, she can check what I'm saying, that except police, except public order, except land, everything falls with the government, the elected government of Delhi. The tyranny of the unelected must end.
Okay, now Charu Pragya, here's the fact. Unless the BJP had some plan B, some backdoor solution to come in, you wouldn't make this a matter of pride and prestige. In the way that the new BJP functions, if you thought you were losing this mayor battle, you would have just let the Aam Aadmi Party come in and form the government and say, okay, we respect the mandate. Now, obviously, there is some tikram. Obviously, there is some plan B, shadow fight that you want to do, which is why you're which is why you're itching to up the ante.
Now, Rahul, to give a rest to your spy mind, let me make one thing very clear. In this country, elections are free and fair. In this country, whoever wants to stand for elections can stand for elections. The number of votes that candidate gets is irrespective. That comes later. So, one, Priyanka did not understand my question. I was very clear in saying that who is to say that which party can put in a candidate for mayor and which party cannot. There is nothing like this that she is claiming here. Point number two, now it is our prerogative and it is our wish whether we want to contest this elections or not. I don't know if Aam Aadmi Party will have a mayor or not, but Delhi is going to have a mayor who belongs to the Aam Aadmi. Now, if the councillors of Aam Aadmi Party itself do not believe in their mayor candidate, it's not our problem, is it? And this ruckus was not started by us. On the morning of elections, Aam Aadmi Party started with dialogue, with statements to the media, and they tried to build this entire consensus where they were basically coming up with excuses for their loss. And that's exactly why their councillors walked in with blades. Please tell me, Rahul, which lawmaker breaks the law to such an extent that they enter the MCD house intoxicated, carrying blades? They hurt two women councillors of the Bharatiya Janata Party. I can give you names. Can Priyanka please stop interrupting me? Rahul, please, I'm trying to say something very serious.
Let Charu complete, Priyanka. Priyanka, don't heckle her. Let her complete. Go on, Charu.
And Priyanka, even though I understand your frustration, look at it from the point of view of an average Indian. When the national capital is choosing its mayor, and the party which claims to have won this election has councillors which are behaving so rowdily, which are actually attacking women councillors of another party, which walk in intoxicated carrying blades. It sends a very bad image of politics out into the public, and I am extremely against it. Can Priyanka not understand the meaning of not heckling and speaking not out of turn? I don't know what is her problem. And Rahul, I will, at the risk of repeating myself, tell you a few things. Number one, the prerogative of the LG is to choose the alderman, and he's done that. Number two, they are not even voting. Number three, even if you put all the voting sides together, Aam Aadmi Party should have had nothing to worry about. They should have just let these elections go on as planned without this ruckus. What is the action that they've taken against the person who jumped up and broke the mic in the first place? Who started this entire deck of cards from falling down? He was the one who was at fault. And are you talking about women being attacked? 5 councillors heckled 2 women councillors.
Aditya Shankar Prasad, it's very clear that on the streets and in Delhi politics, there is a deadlock. What happens next? Is there a legal solution to this? Otherwise, this tu-tu meh-meh, this fight in the streets and in the house will continue.
Well, Rahul, I don't think there is a need for a legal solution, because what the LG has done is purely within the scope of its constitutional powers. It is the Aam Aadmi Party which has been creating this kind of a ruckus, trying to gain some kind of a political mileage. But frankly speaking, as a practicing lawyer, I don't see that any kind of legal cauldron must arise out of it, unless and until one of the parties is willing to go to court and seeking to fight this out legally. So the issue here is that whether the selection or the election or the appointment of these aldermen as the prospective so-called councillors is right or not, and is constitutionally right or not, is to be decided by the High Court or the Court of Competent Jurisdiction. Legally speaking, I don't think this makes sense, but for the fact that the LG has acted within the scope of its constitutional powers, and purely for politics and optics, all this is being done.
Okay, Prashant Manchanda, can there or should there be a legal solution, or do you think this can be ironed out in the House, because otherwise this battle continues on the streets?
Well, frankly, Rahul, if I see it constitutionally, there has been no disharmony at all. Unfortunately, it has been led to a situation where constitutionally and also the legal contours have been bypassed. It is as simple as that. The elected representatives should be administer oath, which should be followed by the election of the mayor, then followed by the election of the deputy mayor. Thereafter, whatever stands has to stand. In fact, I want to say one more thing, Rahul. A notification was passed in Chandigarh, which is also union territory, which was mirroring the acts. It was only a notification, and that was also struck down by the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court by saying that notification which states that a nominated member has a right in a meeting of a municipality election should be debarred from entertaining that. So it has to be done in a proper perspective, allow the elected representative to be selected, administer oath, elect the mayor, then the deputy mayor. Then in case if there is an issue, that should go to the Honorable High Court and Supreme Court.
So let's see what happens next, because politically that doesn't seem to be... Okay, go on.
Charuji was saying that what is the problem if there are 14 MLAs, if they come and elect, if they come and vote, it is the 14 MLAs. But please understand, these 14 MLAs have been allowed to vote in the constitution itself. They have been allowed to vote under section 3 of the Delhi Municipality Act, whereas both the acts debars the nominated council to vote for the particular mayor. That's my only point, legally.
Okay, so I leave it there. There is no political resolution in sight at this moment. We will track how this battle pans out on the streets, in the House, and possibly in the courts.